my name's Helen, and today I'm going to bring you my October wrap-up. Well, again, I had pretty much the exact same experience as last month. I read 4 novels and 2 plays, although this time, all 4 novels were actually for fun. And without any further ado, let's just dive right in. The first book that I read this month, which I finished on the 4th, was The Maze Runner by James Dashner, and I read this so that I could go see the movie when it came to the cheap theater that's just down the street from my university, and I had heard such mixed things about it that I was really nervous going into it, and I ended up really enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would, and I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. And immediately after I finished The Maze Runner, I picked up Bloodsong by Rhiannon Hart, and I finished this on the 5th, so I read it super quick. It was a really short, really entertaining read. I could not put it down. I just had so much fun reading it, and now I really want Bloodstorm, so I'm gonna have to see how I can get my grubby little paws on that. After finishing Bloodsong, I did have a bit of a slump that kind of happened, and I started a couple books but couldn't really get into them until I finally picked up Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, and I ended up finishing this on the 21st, so that shows you exactly how long I went there without reading anything. And I did really enjoy this, although not as much as I thought I would. I am still excited to pick up the next book, because I own it, so I will do that at some point. I think I had just built this up in my head too much, and even though it was really good, it just couldn't live up to the expectations that I had built for it. And I ended up giving this 3.5 out of 5 stars. And immediately after finishing Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, I knew that I was feeling like reading something that was just kind of lighthearted and fun, so I picked up Who Could That Be at This Hour by Lemony Snicket, which is the first book in his All the Wrong Questions series, and I loved this so much. I forgot how much I enjoy Lemony Snicket's writing style, and I ended up finishing this on the 22nd, so again, like right after finishing Miss Peregrines. I could not put it down. It was so much fun, and I ended up giving this 4 out of 5 stars, I believe, 4.5 out of 5 stars, somewhere around there. And I had to mark this little quote in here, because I think it's the most accurate description of The Hobbit that I've ever read. "I'm reminded of a book my father used to read me," she said. "A bunch of elves and things get into a huge war over a piece of jewelry that everybody wants but nobody can wear." "I never liked that kind of book," I replied. "There's always a wizard who's very powerful, but not very helpful." And after finishing those 2 books, I did end up in a bit of a slump again, and I tried to start The Knife of Never Letting Go, which was my TBR jar pick for this month, but I just wasn't quite feeling it. Not quite sure why, but I couldn't really get into it, and I think I'm just not quite in the mood for it because I can tell that I'm going to like it. And I also tried to pick up Listen by Sarah Dessen, and I was a little bit more feeling this one. I read about a chapter before I just kind of put it down for a little bit because something else was calling my name. But before I could pick up my next book, I had to read 2 plays for my Introduction to Drama and Literature class, and the first play I had to read was The Red Sisters by Thompson Highway, and this is the story of 7 Indian women who live on a reserve, and they find out about the biggest bingo in the world and decide that they're going to save up enough money so that they can all go, and they have all these dreams about what they're going to do with their money. And it was really interesting. I liked it more than I thought it would. I would probably give this 3 stars. And then the other play I had to read for that class was A Doll's House by Henrik Ibsen, I believe is his name. And this was a really interesting play. It's centered around this woman named Nora and her husband and all of the different money troubles that they're having. And at first I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it, but I ended up liking it quite a bit. I would probably give that one 3.5 stars as well. And those are all the books that I actually read in October. I am currently reading Model Land by Tyra Banks, and I think this is kind of just what I needed. I needed something lighthearted and almost absurdly ridiculous, and this is definitely satisfying that need. I adore Tyra Banks as a person. I love what she stands for. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you probably know that my guilty pleasure TV show is America's Next Top Model. I love it. And when I found out that Tyra had a book, I knew I wanted to read it, and as much as I'm not a fan of her writing style, it is very simplistic and everything, but it's just a really weird, fun world, and I'm enjoying my time in it. And now for my November TBR. I don't think I'm going to be able to get very much reading done in November, purely because NaNoWriMo and I have so many essays that I have to write, but I do still, of course, want to get at least a little bit of reading done. I plan on finishing Model Land as soon as possible. As I was putting my books away from my recent book haul, I realized I don't have enough room on the half of my windowsill that is dedicated to hardcover books, so I want to try and just read through some of my hardcover books over the next little while. I'm not entirely sure which ones they're going to be yet or anything like that, but they're going to be from that side. I'm thinking maybe Ruby Red, maybe Falling Kingdoms, maybe The Mystic City. What I have for you today. Have you read any of the books that I mentioned in this video? If so, what did you think of them? Tell me your thoughts and things down below. I look forward to hearing from you, and I'll see you soon with a new video. Bye!